So I just got back from Expo West 2026 in Anaheim, California, and man, that was an experience. That was my first time at this show, and as I walked through the trade floor, it seems like every single booth have a similar formula. They got their banners, they got their people standing in front, they got free samples, for some reason, lots of tote bags.
Put cat to shame right here.
I wasn't just there as an attendee, but I was there as an exhibitor at the actual show, and we did something completely different than what most people were doing on a trade show. We showed up to the biggest natural product trade show in the world, and we built them a free content studio right there on the show floor. In this video, I want to tell you the story of what we did, what went right, and most importantly, what I would have done differently. So if you're thinking about doing a booth at a show, you can learn from my experience and crush it even more. So let me tell you the whole story.
Welcome to Expo West.
So first, if you never heard of Expo West, let me give you the quick rundown of what the show is about. So the Natural Products Expo West in Anaheim, California is basically like the Super Bowl for CPG brands. And that stands for Consumer Packaged Goods. We're talking things like supplements, snacks, beverages, beauty, wellness. If it sits on the shelf at a Whole Foods or Target or Walmart, there's a good chance that the brand behind it has been to this exact show. According to my research, there's about 65,000 attendees and 3,500 exhibiting brands on the trade show floor. And this show floor is where massive retail deals get made. A lot of brands want to be there because people from places like Whole Foods, Target, Walmart, or any of these big retailers would want to try out and sample their products, and that can get their products into thousands of stores nationwide. And that was my first time there. My name is Brandon Fortino, and I'm the founder of Fortino Studios. We're a creative agency that help brands grow using video content. And at the show, I was there as a partner to a digital marketing agency called Canbar Digital. They're also based here in San Diego, and they specialize in paid ads on Amazon, Meta, Google, TikTok, as well as doing a lot of SEO. So while the booth was under Canbar's name, they were kind enough to invite me to become their creative partner for the whole activation. And honestly, the concept almost didn't happen the way it did. But let me tell you first how this got started.
All right, so this is day one of Expo West. Who we got here?
So this is Zach. He's the director of business development at Canbar, and he reached out to me a few weeks before the show started.
All right, so what are we expecting for today?
Today we're expecting chaos. We don't know what to expect because we're trying something for the first time.
Now, his original idea was to have a product photography booth. Brands can come in, get a clean product shot, and leave happy. And honestly, when he told me about that, I think that's a pretty solid idea. But when I got on a meeting with Zach, I told him, I think we can do a little bit better than that. Because here's what I was thinking. Every single brand at this show needs content. Now more than ever. Like, they really need content. But more specifically, they need video content. Not something that's overly produced brand videos, but a lot of them needs that raw, authentic, human content that actually performs on social media and also in ads. The marketing space calls it a UGC, which stands for user-generated content, but you can call it influencer content. Anything that really shows what the product's about, or maybe even a little demo about the product. Something that feels human that can highlight either the product or the founder or the brand behind the actual product. And honestly, being in the marketing space, the data is pretty clear right now. UGC style ads consistently outperform traditional creatives across Meta, TikTok, and Amazon, and brand knows this. They know that these type of ads produce. But being in the production space in over 5 years, I know that producing it is a whole separate problem. Typically, you need to source the creators, create some sort of briefs, create some sort of idea, you need to ship the product, you need to wait a lot of weeks, and you need to get back, and they may or may not be usable. But then we thought, what if you could just do it on the spot? I mean, think about it from the brand's perspective, right? Like, you paid anywhere between $10,000 to about $50,000 or more to be at this show. You're probably tired, you talk to hundreds of people per day, and our goal is to make it simple. Our goal is to not be in the way of them trying to network with the retailers. We want it to be a smooth experience so that someone can walk up to these brands and say, hey, we came over to our booth because we saw that you're doing cool stuff. I know you're busy right now, but if you want to take a little break, maybe film something creative, we can get a piece of content for your brand. We get all the professional lighting, the cameras, takes about 60 seconds, and it's completely free. There's no strings attached. That's it. And that became the offer that we built. A lot of CPG brands can come here, make their 60-second videos. They can use it for ads, videos, for social media, anything they can think of. We're here with Canbar Digital, which is going to be an awesome. As far as setup goes, knowing how much space that we have in our booth, we want to make sure that it still looks professional and it can be usable while also maintaining that professional quality of the actual footage. So we went with 2 key lights, a camera rig, and a white backdrop, and a little kitchen island as the product display surface. That way they can put their products in front of the display, and it will look pretty in front of the camera. And after walking around trying to find our booth on the first setup day, it ended up looking legit because it was legit. This is the typical gear that I literally bring on set for all of our shoots. Me and Victor was there on day one before it was open to the whole public to set up the whole booth. Obviously, we all work as a team together to build this set, all the way from the kitchen counters to the cameras to the lights, everything to make sure that the experience was great. Victor, how was the setup this morning?
Setup looks great. We had a little bit of struggle with the backdrop, but everything's going great. We're looking forward to today. It's gonna be busy, but we're gonna get it done.
That's right. When we told brands about it, brands can just come in and do whatever they wanted in that next 60 seconds. They could talk about their product, do a demo, and have our team even ask them questions. And this became a big part of what we offer. Because if they were too nervous to be in front of the camera, me or our team member Kat would do the video for them. It's literally a piece of production set right on the trade floor. We became the creative directors and on-camera talent at the same time. Typically, the way the flow would work is that a brand would come in, sign up on our QR code so we can get their email, that way we can send them the video later, and they would spend about 2 minutes telling me or Kat about what their product was about, what made it different, who was it for, and it would distill all of that information into something that we genuinely thought the audience would care about. And the only thing that brands had to do to get this is scan a QR code. And that was the game plan that we want to come in with. We want it to be clean, simple, and genuinely give a lot of value to these brands. But typically, this is where idea and execution have a little bit of a mismatch. And we learned that on day one of the actual trade show. And honestly, it started out a bit slow. And let me tell you why. Looking back with a lot of the hindsight, on day one, we figured that a lot of people don't really know about what we're doing. We had no signage, and that turned out to be a bigger problem than I anticipated. We had our team walking down the floor, handing out physical tickets. We got these little printed cards with information of where our booths is, and we were passing out hundreds of these things across the different floors. And on that first day, only a handful of people were coming every hour or so. And I realized I think part of the problem was the messaging. We were trying to figure out what language would actually land with this target audience. We tried calling it a free video. We tried calling it free photo. We tried calling it free UGC. We're trying to find what really works and what really catches their attention. And this is what we were learning all in day one. And then there was a whole other thing that we didn't even fully account for. We didn't realize that most people are terrified to be in front of the camera. And honestly, I've been posting social media content my own for about 2 to 3 years now, and I help coach business owners or even founders and teams do this. And sometimes I forget that it's actually a pretty difficult skill to be in front of the camera, and it's pretty daunting to look at the camera and just start talking, even if you know the product inside and out. Especially when all the lights are facing at you, all the microphones, and people are walking around everywhere, it can get quite chaotic. So about halfway through day one, Kat and I made a little tiny adjustment that ended up changing everything. We started telling people, look, if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, it's okay, we will do it for you. And honestly, that alone changed everything. By the end of that day one, we had started to find our footing. A lot more people were starting to come by and give out their products. And later that night, we made a simple fix. We wrote the words free product video in big letters so that everyone can see it, and we taped it in one of our light stands. Honestly, it looks kind of ghetto, but let me tell you, that sign just changed everything. It worked like crazy. And day two was a whole different story. Coming around day two, we had a line. Like, I'm not saying that people are just reserving, no. We mean there's an actual queue of brands that are waiting to get their videos done in front of the cameras. We got so many people already here. It's just literally the start of the day. And the show floor is already loud, it's chaotic, there's a lot of people in every direction. And they're choosing literally to wait in line in our booth because they wanted to get a free video. There was literally some points where between Kat and I, we kept switching back and forth so that we can take breaks. My voice was honestly running out, and her voice I know was running out too, and it was super fun. We appreciate a lot of the brands that came to us, and honestly, it was a really cool experience, and it all because simply adjusting the messaging.
Y'all, we didn't even record on day two because it was so busy. We'll get you all the footage playing right now as clips and highlights, but what do you think today went? How do you think today went?
Today was a grind, bro. Like you said, we didn't even get an update, but we shot probably like 40 videos
So many cool brands.
We met so many great people.
We literally had brands that never been in front of the camera before who walked out of that studio looking like pros. We had founders who just give us their products, and in about 2 minutes, we riffed on it, and they got home with a really nice video that is ready for them to use. And honestly, that felt really good because a lot of the times as a marketing agency, when you are trying to post up at a conference or at an event, people always think that they're trying to sell you something. Now, to say that we're not trying to sell something is probably going to be a lie. Obviously, we wanted to work with a lot of these brands, but we want to lead that with value. A lot of those brands are going to come home with a free video. Those are the free value that we give them. And a lot of them, whether they wanted to work with us or not, at least they're a part of that experience. They're a part of the activation. That's what matters. We really wanted to bring this value to them, and I'm glad that they really see what we're trying to do. And on top of that, by the end of day 2, we also had something else happening. For the brands that really engaged with us, they showed a little bit of interest in working together or even doesn't have anything special planned that night. The founder of Can Bar Digital, Khalil, had co-sponsored a dinner at Morton's Steakhouse right that night on day 2.
So we're here. We're about to go to our dinner at Morton's Steakhouse, sponsored steakhouse.
We're at Morton's right now. Show them Morton's.
A lot of line out the
Today
door.
was success, man. We got so much free stuff. I took so many energy supplements today.
I know.
I'm geeked right now.
We don't know what we're taking.
They also had other major sponsors like Luminize, LG, and many other brands. And we give those teams and founders complimentary tickets to come to the steak dinner. And there's a massive difference between just meeting someone on that loud show floor for about 3 minutes and sitting across from them at a dinner table for about an hour or 2. And honestly, I felt like the relationships that were built that night went to a completely different level. We're able to talk about how the video went, talk about their goals, really talk about what they're building. Brands from all over the world, literally from Asia, from Europe, from Australia. And by the time that day 3 wrapped, we had filmed about 70 videos and collected over 140 contacts that genuinely visited our booth and wanted to learn more about what we do. But here's the question I know you're sitting with right now, the one that I was asking myself the whole time. Did this activation actually work? And let me be straight with you. We got about 70 videos filmed, and out of those 140 contacts, they're not just cold leads. There are people that genuinely came and got value out of us. They literally trust us with their product to either talk about it or to display it and let them talk about their product. And I don't take those kind of trust very lightly as an agency founder. And if you put it in any other context, if you're running ads or cold outreach or networking at events, usually getting those amount of leads and contacts in about 3 days would cost you a lot of money. And don't get me wrong, we did pay a lot of money and effort to create that experience in that booth. But honestly, that UGC studio idea wasn't just about the cool experience. It was a lead generation machine built around value generation. We always believe that when you lead with value, not only that the world will become a better place, value will also come back to you. That's the principles that I like to run my business. And from the perspective of the brands that film with us, now they have a video content that they can actually use whether they work with us or not. They can run it as ads, content, all the things they can think of. So did I really think that it worked? Absolutely. I think that was, number one, not only the funnest booth experience I've had. We had such an amazing team with Can Bar Digital. It was so awesome talking with them and really just connecting with the whole group. And we got to shoot videos with amazing brands that come stop by our booth. We wanted to learn about their story, about their products, and really a lot of these founders are very passionate about their products, and it's really awesome to be able to capture that. So let me leave you with the bigger idea here, because I think this goes well beyond trade shows. Lesson number 1 is that the most powerful marketing move you can make right now is to lead with genuine value before you ask for anything. Now, what I mean is not a watered down free thing that you design just to hook people in and to get their emails and phone number, but actual real and usable value. In this example, what we did is that we gave brands real content that they can literally run as ads, content, or anything that they had in mind. And that's why it worked. Lesson 2 is not being afraid to be different in the sea of sameness. Now look, there were over 3,500 booths at Expo West. There were literally so many booths with so many different brands that are doing really cool stuff. And ours was one of the only ones with a content studio. Now you didn't have to have the biggest and the loudest and the most expensive booth, but when you spend time to actually think through and try to be creative about your booth, you can literally separate yourself from the rest of anybody else in the show. Now lesson number 3 is that your messaging is everything. And definitely we learned this from day 1 and day 2. We technically have the same offer between all of the days, but it landed completely differently depending on how we frame that offer. When we tell people that we offer free UGC, people got confused. Some of them didn't even know what UGC content really is. But then when we change it to free product video, and if you're not comfortable on camera, we'll do it for you, that created a whole line waiting to come to our booth to do a video. Again, same product, but different messaging. Because one of the most important things that you can do is always test how you communicate your value to your audience. Now, lesson number 4 is that the relationship does not end at the event. Now, yes, we had a lot of great conversations at our booth, but then we also had the dinner at Morton's. And also, we had the follow-up emails with all of their videos attached. Now, the conversations that we're having right now with all of those 157 contacts, that is where the real business gets done. Either that will become our partners or become our direct clients. Even though the show floor is just where you plant the seed and kind of meet them in person, you need to communicate with them and build the brand even further post-show or post-engagement. And if you're a brand founder, a marketer, or someone that's building something, I hope that this showed you that you don't have to always play by the conventional rules. When you're at places like this, how can you really create the idea that is out of the box without being the biggest budget? Because sometimes the booth with the biggest budget doesn't always win. It's the booth with the best ideas. And if you find value in this content, please let me know in the comment. I'm a newer channel, so I'm still trying to figure out what you all like when it comes to this channel and the content that I make. And thank you again for Canbar Digital for allowing me to be a part of this experience. And I'll see you guys in the next video.